What's up guys, Joe Bennett, Josh Vogel here with Redcon1, and we're going over some tips as far as when would you use different types of bars. So we're going to cover again some straight bars, some cambered bars, some trap bars, safety squat bar, and specifically in this video we're going to talk about the Swiss bar. In this case, we're going to talk about just a close grip bench press. So wherever you're doing this to target a little bit more triceps, or you're targeting a little bit more front delt, in my opinion, it can be a great exercise for both. A big problem that people have with these, so people will do these over time, and sometimes they get elbow pain, they get shoulder pain. Often that can come from the wrist. So I'm going to have Josh demo. If he's in the bottom position he would be for a close grip bench press, so elbows tucked, and he looks and tries to pronate his hand. If you look at the top of his hand, he is not physically capable, especially this hand, of getting his hands pronated to fully 180 degrees, the position he'd have to grab for a straight bar. So if he did, basically what's going to happen is his elbows would have to flare, which in one case is not really going to have the goal of a close grip press anymore, but can also sometimes, while his hands are still fixed on a bar, cause a lot of elbow issues and a lot of shoulder issues. So if he goes back to the same positioning, the path that he wants to be in while he's doing close grip press, if he just takes into a neutral position here, nothing's going to change at the elbow joint or the shoulder joint, and these joints are just going to comfortably go where they want now. So you're going to have all the tension going where you want, all going to the triceps, all going to the delts, and your wrist, your elbow joint, and your shoulder are going to be happy to go along with this. So he's going to demo what he would do here on a close grip press. So again, if you're trying to find the grip about shoulder width is great. Then from there, grab onto the handles just like you would normally. And from here, he's going to let his elbows tuck right in at its side. And you can see that his elbow's staying directly below his hand, and he's not having any restriction when he's trying to go through that grip that he would for a close grip press. So again, great here, like I said, a very common exercise is close grip bench press, but could also work well for incline or even high incline if the goal is a little bit more front delts. All right guys, so we're gonna give you some good options here in place of a straight bar. Specifically, we're gonna use the cambered bar or the easy curl bar, as some people call it. So straight bars can be great variation for lots of exercises. Lots of guys have grown their biceps doing straight bar curls or underhand rows, but for some people, they're not as good of a fit. One of the most important things to check first here is what are your hands, specifically what are your wrists capable of doing? So if you're going to be doing an underhand curl or an underhand row, the requirement is at least to be able to supinate to 180 degrees so you can actually get in that position. So if we look at Josh here first, if he tucks his elbows, the position he's going to be at a curl or a row, closes his hand up so we can kind of see. We can see the angle of his wrist here. He's a good 20-30 degrees short of being able to get in the position he'd have to if he was holding a straight bar. So what happens if he jams his hand on a bar? Basically that jam is going to come with elbow issues and potentially shoulder issues. And if you talk to guys that have done straight bar curls or straight bar underhand rolls for long periods of time, the issue people tend to have is eventually they take a toll on your elbow. Lots of guys tear biceps, lots of people have, tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, the inside or the outside of the elbow ends up hurting. So a really simple option is if you can just be not quite fully supinated in this position quite here, then they can be great options. So Josh is going to show that. That's basically the purpose of a cambered bar or an easy curl bar. If you look at his hand now, he's basically in that well short of fully supinated position, and he can now go ahead and comfortably curl. So just like the same way you would execute a straight bar curl. And what a lot of guys don't use as well too, is this can be a great tool for underhand rows. So if he just bends over in the position he would for a barbell row, he can now perform the exact same motion, again, just with a cambered bar. So again, nothing to do with load. If you're capable of doing very heavy curls or very heavy barbell rows, fantastic, stick with it. But just be easy on your joints along the way. It's a subtle, small change that can allow you to put all the tension where you want it on your muscles and save your joints along the way. All right guys, so used for a trap bar that I don't see a whole lot of people doing. If we're going back to some variations where you don't have 180 degrees of supination, so again, one of the most common exercises guys do that sometimes they can't fit is that underhand barbell row. So again, if you're the guy that can't quite get all the way to 180 degrees, a great option where you can actually get in a neutral position and train that row is sometimes a trap bar. So if Josh goes ahead and grabs that trap bar, you can see now he's got a nice neutral grip. So he's well short of his end ranges of where his body can't contract. And now he just executes the exact same way. Bends at the hip and rows. So again, whether you're doing it more for lats or more for upper back, doesn't really matter. This is just gonna let your Wrists stay where it can comfortably go, which is going to let your elbows and upper arm pass a little bit more comfortably at your side where you want them, again, without your elbows eating it or your shoulders taking any of the pain. All right, guys, so some different bars again and when to use them. We're talking about a safety squat bar here. Some people call them a yoke bar, depending on what company you get it from. The place for a safety squat bar is two main reasons. Obviously, there's a little bit more, but one is if you want to reproduce something that has more front squat-like mechanics while still having the bar on your back. So again, one of the issues with front squats can be whether you're doing this kind of hang grip or you're doing a cross grip or whatever it is, sometimes it's hard to just stabilize that weight on the shoulders. And then the second reason for this can be is literally lots of times people have shoulder issues. So sometimes if you're a competitive powerlifter or anyone that just likes the back squat, your legs and lower body might have the strength, but it might just kill your shoulders and wrists to get back there. If you look at where the bar is on his back and where the weight sits, if you look straight from the side, if there is weight sitting there, it's basically lined up right with his collarbone. So basically the center of mass, the center of gravity for those exercises changes more like a front squat. And so again, the advantage of the front squat is it's going to allow you to be a little bit more knee dominant, have your hips a little less involved, and your body a little bit more upright. So sometimes you can actually get more out of your quads without it having to balance or coordinate having that bar in that front rack position.